So Treyarch has released another patch, patch 1.08, and to be honest, my first response to hearing about this patch was anger. I provide you guys tips. I use the stats as they are in the game to give you guys information, tips, classes for my logical class videos. And here they go again, changing things up, switching the game up on me. So I have to go back, I have to redo tests, I have to do all this research again so that I can give you guys up to date and accurate information. And that's not really a problem for me, but it's a little bit annoying. And they actually nerfed two submachine guns, the MSMC and the PDW-57. And honestly, those two they're popular, but they're not two of the best submachine guns. I mean, if you're gonna go and pick two guns out of the submachine guns, the MSMC and the PDW are pretty good guns to pick because they have high damage, but they're not the best. What about the Peacekeeper? The Peacekeeper takes number one in range, accuracy, average damage per bullet over 1600 GDU. And if you don't know what GDU is, check out my MSMC logical class where I explain all the how I calculate ranges and how I get the distances and the damages and everything. So check that out. But the Peacekeeper is one of the most powerful SMGs, and they didn't change anything about that. But let me jump into the gameplay balancing part of this patch so you guys know what the heck I'm talking about. So, like I said, the SMGs, MSMC, and the PDW have been nerfed. And if you don't know what nerf means, that means that a gun in the video game has been weakened. That means it's less effective overall. So, for the SMGs, the MSMC and the PDW-57 have both had their recoil increased, which up close it really doesn't mean too much in terms of accuracy. If you're aiming down sight, it's not going to mean that much until you get further out where these guns have the best characteristics, and their recoil has been increased so that you probably won't be on target for like 700, 800, 900 GDU. It's going to be a lot harder to stay on target and get the kill now. And I mean, what about the Peacekeeper? The Peacekeeper is very, very accurate. Now you're going to have to worry about losing gun battles to the Peacekeeper, to the Vector, which is super accurate. And if you have an MSMC and a PDW, and that's going to be really tough. Also, they slightly reduced the hip fire accuracy. So hip firing is weaker with the MSMC and the PDW. If you look at the sights on the PDW and MSMC, you see like white lines that give you crosshairs for the gun. These have been expanded so they're a little bit wider, which means that they're less accurate. So that's going to hurt your hip fire accuracy when you're getting gun battles up close. So you might get killed a little more often now if you are prone to hip firing up close. I guess they felt like these two guns were the most popular, and they want to balance the game so that people use some of the other submachine guns like the Vector, MP7, the Peacekeeper if you got DLC. They want to make it so that these guns are evenly used throughout the community, and they're trying to make that happen. They don't suggest it. They make the most popular guns weaker so that can happen. They also did some other nerfs in assault rifles. They made the FAL with Select Fire reduced in damage when firing full auto. And I don't know how I feel about this. FAL and Select Fire is a powerful combination. You might have seen my after my logical class for the FAL, I released another video with the alternate class with the FAL with Select Fire, and that just does work. They also reduced the damage for the SMR with Select Fire, and those are two semi-auto guns, and a semi-auto gun in Black Ops 2 is usually more powerful because it's weakened in terms of fire rate, but with Select Fire that nullifies that weakness with fire rate. So I can kind of see where they would want to reduce full auto firing damage with these two guns. But what about the SWAT? What about the burst assault rifles? Those are very powerful with Select Fire, and I see no reduction in damage for those weapons. So people are just going to move from the FAL to the burst auto assault rifles. And I mean, maybe that's what they want. Maybe they just want to spread the amount of popularity among guns. They also did a nerf to the pistols. One pistol in particular, the Cap 40, they reduced the damage of dual wield Cap 40s, and they reduced the hip fire accuracy of dual wield Cap 40. So I don't know if people were on the message or the forums complaining about it, or they just realized that it was a powerful combination. The Cap 40 is a fully automatic pistol, and it does work up close. It does work. For some buffs, they did make some guns better during this patch. One of those guns, or the assault rifle, the Type 25, the movement speed is increased, so you can move faster while you're holding the Type 25. It's give you a little bit of an advantage against the other assault rifles. They also increased the medium range damage for the Type 25, which means that they increased the range where they made it more powerful at medium range. I don't know exactly at which ranges they have increased the damage, but when I do the logical class for the Type 25, you guys will see exactly where it is. They also increased the long range damage of the SCAR. Now this is surprising because the SCAR was already a powerful weapon. I mean, you guys seen the logical class. I threw the suppressor on the SCAR and it still does damage at long range. So now it's going to do even more damage at long range because the damage has been increased for long range. So you can check out the SCAR. The SWAT, they also increased the long range damage for the SWAT as well, which is, the SWAT is already a mega powerful gun. Just so you know, the SWAT is really powerful, and they increased the long range damage of it. It's I don't know. I mean, it might borderline OP, honestly, and you will see that when you when I do the logical class. I'll show you guys a good setup for that gun. For the shotguns, they also did some buffs. They made the medium range damage increase for the M1216. For sniper rifles, they reduced the idle sway of the Ballista with the Iron Sight. Now, I haven't used the Ballista. I'm not a sniper. I haven't used the Ballista with the Iron Sight, but, and you know, that's kind of a crazy combination of sniper rifle with an iron sight, because you reduce the visibility and the scope of the long range of the sniper rifle. So, but they reduced idle sway on that. I guess they want more people to use it. The LMGs, they buffed them. They buffed the QBB-LSW. They made it more powerful at medium range, and they buffed the HAMR. They made it more powerful at medium range as well. And you know that the LMGs are some of the most powerful guns in the game. Like, they made them more powerful, so they want more people using LMGs, obviously. And that's it. If you were expecting some of the other guns to be buffed or nerfed, they didn't do it, at least not on the PS3. They also made some changes to the attachments. They made it so Cold-Blooded is completely invisible to the MMS. So when you're looking through a wall, somebody camping in the MMS, if they have Cold-Blooded, they are almost completely invisible. So that means they're almost invisible. You could probably still see them a little bit. They made some improvements to the spawn system. They reduced the weight of positive team spawn influences on own domination flags. Now they made it so that there's more influence to where the enemy team is as opposed to where your team is, because they want to reduce the cases in domination where players might spawn near their team but also near danger. So you might spawn into a grenade or something, or you might spawn into one of your teammates getting shot by an opponent, and they reduce the amount of times that will happen. They also added more spawn points to hijack for demolition and kill confirmed, which improves the spawn picking algorithm. And you know, I have no complaints with that. Those are really small maps, and they made it so that it's harder for people to get spawn trapped on these two game types on hijack. I haven't really seen that much, but I have seen it, people getting spawn trapped on hijack, because it's such a small map. You can pretty much predict where people are going to spawn, so they just add in more spawn points so that you can't predict it as easily. They also adjusted spawn influences on standoff for improved spawn picking algorithms in all game modes. So you know, that's really good. I like when they add more spawn points, because it's harder for you to predict where you're going to spawn or predict where the enemy is going to spawn, and it's harder to get spawn trapped pretty much. And that's it for the game balancing. They also made some fixes to the multiplayer, and they made some fixes to zombies, but I'll let you guys go through that. I scanned through it. I don't see anything about system reset or about some errors that people have been commenting on some of my videos about the persistent rank error, and they're supposedly fixed that in the last patch. So if you're still getting those errors, you might want to go to the forums. You might want to try to contact Treyarch with an email or something. I can tell you what happened with me with my stat resets. Remember last patch I was telling you that they released a form you could submit to Treyarch. Right, so I went and filled the form out. I did it and I submitted it. A couple of days later, I went back to my account, because I have two accounts. One is Steve the G5X and the other is SAGB65. And I was on my SAGB65 account, and I went back to my Steve the G5X account where my stats were messed up, and they had given me 3 prestige award points, and they reset my classes, but my stats were still messed up. But what those 3 prestige award points did allow me to do was it allowed me to permanently unlock 3 perks or attachments or whatever. But I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do was give myself a complete reset, because when I was playing before, every time I would prestige, I wouldn't get the opportunity to use my prestige award, so I couldn't do a reset, I couldn't do a refresh, I couldn't reset my stats myself. That's why I had to submit that paper to them, or submit that form to them, and they let me do that. So now my stats have been clean, they're clear, everything is back on point. I lost all my classes, but I have the opportunity to get them back. I haven't prestige yet on that account, but once I do, I'll probably upload another video to tell you if my I got my extra custom class. So with that said, they did do a lot of game balancing with this. They did a lot of addressing multiplayer issues. I want you guys to look at the notes. I'll put a link to the notes in the description. Also put a couple of the notes in the actual description, so you don't have to link to it if you don't want to. But safe to say that they are still working to balance this game to how they see fit. I might not agree, you might not agree. I'm pretty sure, I mean, in the comments, just put one gun or something that you think that they should change, and I bet it's gonna be, you know, a ton of people saying that they dislike something like the target finder or something like that. And there's always going to be gameplay balancing. So I think the best thing we all can do is just prepare for things to change and have an open mind, and write on the forums, because that's where I think that's where they get a lot of this stuff. The most popular posts on the forums, they probably look at those. So if you're not writing on the forums, and if you do have something that you want changed, go to the forums and write on there. But this has been Steve G. Thanks for watching. Hope you get some information from this, and watch out for my next logical class. I'm not sure which gun I might do one of these patched guns, but I know that an assault rifle is coming up next, at least next Friday, next weekend. So next weekend there's going to be an assault rifle logical class. Before that, I might try to squeeze out something else just to tide you guys over until the weekend. But thanks for watching. Watch out for my logical class. See ya.